My fellow gamers, welcome to the world of Sanctuary. It's time to play a hardcore seasonal character, specifically the Wizard. In this run, there will be 3 rules. Rule number 1, we will be playing hardcore mode. If our hero dies, we will no longer be able to play that hero. They are dead forever. Rule number 2, there will be no help from the outside whatsoever. No power leveling, no grouping, nothing of that kind, including rule number 3, no help from other hardcore characters. I can't make a Demon Hunter, I can't make a Crusader or a Barbarian and use them to get gear, loot, gems, anything of that kind at all. This is a completely solo run with our Wizard. So without further ado, let's start. We will be naming our Wizard Moiraine, after one of my favorite characters in all of noveldom. I'll let you guys figure out who that is. This is just the warning that we are creating a permanent death seasonal character. We will accept that warning. And now, we will jump into the game. We're going to start on normal mode just to see how things go. And we will be playing solely on adventure. Campaign is good. We like the campaign. It's a good story. I don't care what anybody says. But adventure mode is where it's at. So we are going to start the game and hopefully find some clothes for our character, because especially in the desert, I don't think she's going to be doing very well with nothing to wear. Just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. We have arrived in the hidden camp in Chaldeum. Let's take a look around the camp for those of you that aren't familiar with Diablo 3. Here we have 3 characters we can hire. In this run, we'll probably be using exclusively the Templar for reasons I'll get to in a moment. This here is the Nephilim Obelisk. We'll be using this once we hit level 70 to get extra loot, more experience, things like that. This is the Jeweler. We'll be visiting him often. This here is our stash. We can store extra items in here we don't need, buy tabs, things of that nature. Blacksmith does obvious blacksmithing things. This is a merchant named Squirt. She actually sells special things that you can't get anywhere else. These Essence of Emeralds, Ritz Bell, Hellfire Amulets. That's late game stuff we'll be doing. And then this here is Miriam, what is she called? The Enchanter. And then we also have Zoltan Kuhl. We'll have to be messing with him later on. So let's look at our seasonal journey real quick. The game is divided into 4 chapters. In each of these chapters, there is a specific set of challenges, and when you complete these challenges, you unlock the next level of objectives. So, Chapter 1, it wants us to complete a Nephilim Rift using that Nephilim Obelisk, complete 5 bounties, socket gems, etc., etc., etc. As we complete these things, we will unlock special things like portrait frames, a pet. I don't think it's going to let us look and see what else is here. We can also earn items. These items are quite powerful, and we will be using them in our build. The armor, in particular, is the Tal Rasha's set, and that is going to be our ultimate prize for completing this journey. So, let's jump into the world and start completing some bounties. Right now, we have some very basic skills. We have Magic Missile and just a shooting wand thing. We don't have a whole lot. Our pet will help us to pick up items. And other than that, we are on our own to get this thing done. Here's our first enemies. Let's go ahead and fight. Doing a little bit of kiting. There's not a whole lot of chances of us dying here, but it is possible. It is possible even with these first encounters, so we have to be very careful. The Wizard is one of the hardest characters to play as a hardcore character because she has minimal defenses. She's essentially a glass cannon. So it is imperative that we kite, that we run, that we not allow enemies to get free hits on us. We've unlocked our second ability, a Frost Ray. This is going to help us to stay alive by slowing enemies and also doing damage at a distance. It says that we're still in combat. I'm not sure why. Let's take a look at this. Ray of Frost, 16 Arcane Power. That's essentially our mana. Projected beam of frozen ice that blasts enemies within 5 yards, hits for 430% weapon damage as cold, and slows movements by 60% for 3 seconds. The damage is also increased every second up to a total of 1240% weapon damage. Awesome. We found some pants! Our quest is off to an excellent start. We have found pants. What more could we possibly need? We've encountered our first epic enemy, and he's dead. We'll be upgrading from normal difficulty before too long, I imagine. It's pretty easy right now. But you gotta be careful, because if you upgrade too quickly to other difficulties, then you're much more likely to die. So it's a risk versus reward system. Okay, we're surrounded on all sides here. This is a little scary. Oh boy, we just aggroed a lot more. Fire, 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 fire! Die, 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 die! Okay, we're good. Okay, blue packs. At this difficulty, they're very easy, and they drop a lot of loot and experience, so we like that. Alright, so this gives us our first chance to compare stats and things of that nature. Right now we have 2 gloves that are basically the same. The second pair of gloves grants more toughness and recovery, but loses us 2% damage. It also has a secondary effect where it grants 2 experience on monster kills. The first set of gloves increases our attack speed by 2%. At this point, we're going to switch this out, because a little bit more survivability, I think, is exactly what we need right now. We found a cursed chest. You touch the chest, and as you would expect, bad things happen. In this case, we summon a pack of elite mobs that try to kill us. But by completing it, we get to unlock the chest, and we also get a decent amount of experience, so it's a win-win. Well worth our time. Well worth our time. And we finally have a piece of clothing. Not much better. Not much better in terms of actual defenses. But, you know, we're red now, and that's kind of cool. Excellent. We've completed the bounty. And it looks like we've unlocked another skill category, so let's go ahead and take a look at that after we gather up all this stuff. Anything here worth recovering? No, not really. Okay, so we've unlocked the defensive ability. This gives us Frost Nova, blasts nearby enemies with an explosion of ice, and it frees them for 2 seconds. Looks like that. So anything that's nearby gets frozen, allowing us to hopefully get out alive and escape. We're going to switch Magic Missile to Shock Pulse, because it does a little bit, not really more damage, but it does do up-close damage, and it also does damage in a cone. So we're going to stick with that. It looks like that. And it generates Arcane Power, which is good. Now, once we complete bounties, we'll get a little check mark in the area that says we've completed that bounty. If we complete all the bounties in a zone, in an act, there's 5 acts, 5 bounties per zone, then we unlock a Horadric Cache, which comes with gems and gold and loot and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So let's move on to the next one. Now we're already level 4, not bad. For those of you that are not aware of how this game works, we are trying to get to level 70. Once we hit level 70, we begin to unlock what's called Paragon Levels. Paragon Levels essentially let you start putting points into stats instead of trying to unlock abilities. Basically, the first 70 levels, you're unlocking all of your different abilities. So like this Ray of Frost with Shock Pulse, things like that. And then once you hit Paragon levels, then it becomes a game of putting points into stats and things of that nature. So our immediate goal is to get to level 70, and then from there, we'll start... Wow, these guys are pretty resilient. From there, we'll start putting points into stats, things of that nature. We've unlocked the Arcane Orb active slot. Freeze those guys. Boom. Easy peasy. So where is that Arcane Orb? It looks like it's in this slot. Costs 30 Arcane Power. Hurl an orb of pure energy that explodes on contact, dealing 435% weapon damage as arcane to all enemies within 15 yards. I'll show you guys what that looks like. It looks like that. Those of you that play Heroes of the Storm are well familiar with that ability, and I'll use it on some enemies just to show the effect. So, cool ability. Very cool ability. But we're going to stick with the Ray of Frost because it gives us a little more survivability. A little more survivability. And we also don't have to worry about travel time. Later on we might take it though. We'll just have to wait and see. We're starting to get pushed to the limits of our Arcane Power. Before we were killing things so fast that Arcane Power wasn't a problem, but now we are getting pushed just a little bit in terms of how much Arcane Power we use per encounter. So we need to start conserving a little bit, start using our Shock Pulse a bit more, things like that, and we need to not walk into damage as much as possible. Those things explode and do toxic damage if they hit you, like that. So we don't want to hit those if we can avoid it. We've run out of Arcane Power. So now we're going to start using our Shock Pulse, generating some more, while still doing a little bit of damage, not nearly as much as our Ray of Frost would do. Alright, we're going into the Flooded Cave, which is where our bounty objective is. We need to get to level 2 and kill all the enemies in that area. Spiders! And rockworms. I'll do my best not to spoil the storyline too much for you. Those of you that have yet to play through Diablo 3's campaign, because it's actually quite good. But we'll be listening to a little bit of lore here and there because it's pretty entertaining and it's interesting, I think. So I think it's fairly safe to listen to the lore unless we're killing bosses and things like that. We've run into an elite pack. We gotta kill these guys as quickly as possible, and I'm just gonna hold down that Ray of Frost for that very reason. You can see just how much of a damage boost it does once it ramps up. Well worth expending that Arcane Power. This game is gonna be a little bit of a balancing act between staying alive with stats that boost things like vitality and resistance and armor and things of that nature, and doing enough damage to kill things quickly, because armor and resistance and all that stuff is useless to you if they grind you down because they outrace you in damage. So it's very important that we have good damage output as well as armor, because one without the other is useless to us. Now you saw there that enemy used an ability to pull us forward. Every elite mob pack spawns with a random series of modifiers. That one had something called Vortex. Vortex is where the enemy will pull us in like that. For a wizard, that can be very deadly. Thankfully, with that enemy type, not all that scary, quite frankly. However, it is possible to run into enemies that will do that, and they will also explode when you kill them, or they will reflect your damage back to you, or any number of other nasty things. So it's very important we pay attention to the kinds of enemies we are fighting. We've made it to level 2, so everything here we see must die. Everything must die. Okay, so we've killed this first pack, no problem. Not really running into any damage issues in terms of taking too much HP damage. It is normal level, but you know, sometimes you'll think you're doing just fine, and so you'll go and up the difficulty, and then all of a sudden you'll hit a level up and things will just get insanely hard or something. So we've got to be careful. Okay, we found some boots. We found some bracers. We found, what is this, a spear? So we're starting to fill out our slots. That's kind of going to be our first goal, and you can see just how much health that actually gave us, quite a bit. So it's going to be important too that as we level, we're equipping all of the new gear we find. Otherwise, we're going to get outclassed in terms of stats by the enemies, because their base stats go up every level. They actually scale with you, and then the difficulty modifier you have, whether it's normal, hard, expert, whatever, gives a base increase to their stats, and also increases the loot chance drop as well as the experience drops. It's an interesting system. We've got 14 enemies left to kill. There's some... Oh, here's a lot. We're gonna Frost Nova them. And, ooh. Okay, so they can interrupt because they have knockback, so we're not gonna be able to just do that. Yeah, we can, actually. Alright, there's an enemy around, but I'm not seeing it. Is this a rockworm? Yes, it is. Awesome. And we've reached level 6. Fantastic. Okay, Magic Missile Rune unlocked, Charged Blast. Let's take a look at this real quick. Each ability you have has a set of skill runes, and you may choose one of them to place into the ability. If we were to pick Magic Missile and pick Charged Blast, we would increase the damage of Magic Missile to 325% weapon damage as Arcane. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to go ahead and do that, and we may switch back once we get a rune unlocked for the, what is the other one called? Shock Pulse? But for now, we're just going to stick with this. We have 3 enemies left to kill before we complete this bounty. Let's open up the map and see what we're missing. Okay, so it looks like it went there. Did not mean to do that, but yeah, that's my that's my pendant there, or flag, or whatever you want to call it. You can use that to let people know where you're at, try to coordinate a little bit if you're on a team. There it is. Boom. Awesome. Anything here we need to do anything with? Nope. Alright, let's go to the next one. We're going to do a boss fight. Into the archives of Zoltan Kuhl. I should let you guys know, this is technically a boss from the game, so if you want 0 spoilers, you shouldn't watch this section. But the game's been out long enough, I think most of you are going to be okay with watching this stuff, whatever happens. Okay, so it skips over the cutscene because it's, because this is adventure mode. So we can just focus on killing the enemies. We've killed the ads, and now we're going to kill the main boss. Easy mode. Easy mode. Let's see what we got. A little bit of recovery, a shield. This is two-handed, so we can equip that, actually, get a little bit more damage reduction. Easy. To the Restless Sands. I think when I hit level 10, I'm going to up the difficulty to hard mode. See if maybe we can increase the rate at which we level up. I don't want to rush it, but I also don't want to just make this take forever. You can see how much damage that magic missile does now that it's got that charged rune. It's quite impressive. We're going to avoid these Kane's Lost Satchels because they do contain a lot of plot spoilers, so I'm just going to avoid those for you guys. Oh boy. Doing a little bit of bullet hell stuff here. So it looks like right now the magic missile is actually doing a little bit more damage than the Ray of Frost is. It's kind of funny. Okay, so we did unlock a rune for Ray of Frost, Cold Blood. Reduced channeling cost to 11 Arcane Power. Might as well. we're using it, so we might as well have it be more mana efficient. You can see it actually changed what the Ray of Frost looks like, which is pretty cool. It's got kind of that spiraling ray look going around it. I like it. Yeah. Alright then. Let's do it. Okay, so there's another totem. Okay, we'll take next. Well, that was easy. Alright, so this is the last bounty. I am going to increase the difficulty after this, actually, because it's, right now it's just too easy, and I think we can significantly increase our XP advancements if we go up to hard difficulty. This is a pool of reflection. It increases the rate at which experience is gained until we reach a certain amount of experience granted. So it just basically gives you bonus experience, which is nice. We can let these prisoners out just because, you know, we're such a nice gal. Doesn't do anything, it's just something we can do. This is a Nephilim Glory Orb. It increases the amount of damage we do to enemies whenever we attack them, and will sometimes chain a lightning effect nearby. You'll notice it if you see kind of like a yellow lightning thing going out. Wow, we are just ruining these guys. It's not even a contest. So we're going to follow this golden arrow here to the boss. That feature didn't used to be in the game when the game first came out, actually. So, like, you could be in an area and have literally no idea where your objective was when you were trying to do bounties. It was really annoying. So, it was very, very wise of them to add that into the game. Alright, so here we go. Sandmash, and he's done. And we've completed part of our journey. Let's take a look at what that is. Okay, we've completed one objective. Complete 5 bounties. Open the waypoint map in the adventure mode to see what bounties are available. Nice. So that's 1 out of 9 for Chapter 1. Let's go ahead and return to town. And whenever we complete 5 bounties in an area like we've done here, we can talk to Tyrael. Gives us some gold, some experience, and we get a Haraja cache and a bonus cache. There are certain areas that are labeled with the bonus thing. You should always go for those, always, because then you get 2 of these instead of 1. And when we click on them, we get lots and lots of fat loot. Blood shards, plans, materials, things like that. So, let's go ahead and talk to some of these vendors before we switch difficulties. This is the blacksmith. He will salvage all of this stuff that we don't use. We can also give these plans to him and craft those later on. Let's make sure we can't use any of these. Doesn't look like we can, so we're just going to go ahead and salvage everything. And then by salvaging, we get things like reusable parts, veiled crystals, arcane dust, etc. This we just have to drop. We can't actually uncraft that. Or disenchant, salvage, yeah, whatever. While we're here, actually, we're going to go ahead and spend some money to upgrade him, because some of these things are going to be locked behind artisan level. So you can see here, it requires us to be level 23 to craft, but it also needs an artisan level of 4, and so we have to spend money to basically upgrade his stall and get him to higher levels. So I'm just going to dump all of my money into this. We got him to level 5, fantastic. And so now, if we wanted to, we could craft things like this. We don't want to, so we're not going to do that. Okay, real quick, we're also going to look at this diamond skin. Transform your skin to diamond for 3 seconds, absorbing up to 40% of your life in damage from incoming attacks. We might do that some other time. So we're going to leave the game, and we're going to start up again in hard mode.